Friends, I'm coming to you today on September 11th, 2025 with an urgent and profound update for anyone who loves Europe as much as I do. For decades, the well-worn pages of our passports have told the stories of our journeys. Each ink stamp was a cherished souvenir, a tangible memory of crossing a border, exploring the winding alleys of Rome, the majestic fjords of Norway. But that era is drawing to a swift and definitive close. A monumental shift is underway across the heart of Europe. This isn't just about modernizing technology, it's a complete overhaul of the very concept of a border crossing. Beginning next month, in October 2025, a vast coalition of European nations is officially phasing out the traditional passport stamp. Instead, your entry and exit will be recorded silently, digitally, and biometrically. Your face, your fingerprints. This transition is happening under the banner of the Entry-Exit System, or EES, creating a digital ledger of your movements that you cannot hold, see, or easily dispute. This change is not some far-off possibility, it is imminent, and its implications are massive, especially for those of us who are not EU citizens. This is a flash news headline that should be echoing across the globe, yet it's happening with surprisingly little fanfare. The very nature of freedom of movement is being redefined before our eyes. The casual, almost romantic act of crossing a border will be replaced by an invisible automated process that logs your personal biological data into a massive, interconnected database. For the spontaneous traveler, for the long-term expat, for the retiree enjoying their golden years abroad, this new reality demands our immediate and undivided attention. We must understand that this is more than just a technological upgrade. It's about surveillance, control, and the future of personal liberty in an increasingly digital world. The disappearance of the physical stamp means the disappearance of your personal physical proof of travel. Your entire travel history within this vast region will be held in a government-controlled system, accessible and analyzable in ways we are only beginning to comprehend. This is the dawn of a new kind of border, one that is less about geographical lines and more about data points. Let's explore what this means for your future travels and what you must do to prepare. This isn't a small-scale pilot program happening in one or two countries. This is a coordinated, continent-wide transformation. The entry-exit system is being implemented across the entire Schengen area, plus a few associated countries. This means that a massive block of Europe will operate under one unified, biometric border control system. When I read out this list of countries, you will be struck by the sheer scope of this digital fortress. Austria, Belgium, Bulgaria, Croatia, the Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Italy, Latvia, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland. It's crucial to understand the structure of the Schengen zone. Much like states in the United States, these countries have open borders between them, but what this now means is that a single policy governs the entire region's external border. What one country institutes, all countries institute. This unified front is precisely why this change is so powerful and so concerning. If you are a digital nomad, an expat, or even just a tourist passing through on your way to Africa or Asia, your data will be captured. This is phase one of a new era of global control. So, what exactly is this entry-exit system, or EES? In the simplest terms, it is an automated IT system for registering non-EU nationals every time they cross an external border of the participating countries. Think of it as a giant digital logbook that replaces the ink stamp. But instead of just a date and a location, this system collects and stores far more personal information. At the border, you will no longer just present your passport, you will be required to provide your biometric data. Facial image, fingerprints from all four fingers of your right hand. This is not the quick biometric check you might be used to at some airports. This is for long-term storage. This data will be stored in a centralized European database for a period of 3 years. Every time you enter or exit the Schengen area, the system will create a new record, updating your file with the date and place of your entry or exit. The system will also automatically calculate the duration of your authorized stay, which for most non-EU visitors is 90 days within any 180-day period. This automates the process of detecting overstayers. If you exceed your allowed time, an alert is automatically flagged in the system, making it nearly impossible to go unnoticed. The experience of traveling will feel fundamentally different. Instead of interacting with a border guard who stamps your passport, you will increasingly face automated kiosks. Place passport on scanner, look into camera for facial scan, place fingers on sensor. This data will be cross-referenced against the central EES database. While proponents argue this will speed up border crossings, it also makes the process more impersonal and removes the human element from the equation. Your ability to cross a border will be determined by an algorithm's match of your biometrics to its database. This is a profound departure from the past. Your physical passport, once the ultimate proof of your identity and travel rights, becomes secondary to your digital biometric profile held in the EES. The system effectively creates a digital twin of every non-EU traveler, a profile that exists and is analyzed long after you've left the border. For 3 years, your face and fingerprints remain in this system, linked to your travel history. This level of data collection and retention on such a massive scale is unprecedented and raises serious questions about who has access to this information and how it will be used beyond simple border control. This move by Europe is not happening in a vacuum. It is a key part of a much larger global trend toward digitalization, surveillance, and control. Around the world, governments and powerful corporations are pushing for the adoption of digital identities, central bank digital currencies, and biometric surveillance systems. The EES is one of the most advanced and wide-reaching examples of this ideology being put into practice. The official reasons given are always security and efficiency, to fight terrorism, to manage migration flows, and to speed up travel. But beneath these justifications lies a powerful drive to gather more data and exert greater control over populations. Your data is the new gold. In the age of artificial intelligence and big data, personal information is an incredibly valuable commodity. Governments and tech companies alike are racing to collect as much of it as possible. By creating a massive database of biometric information on millions of travelers, European authorities are building a powerful tool for monitoring and analysis. This system can track movement patterns, identify networks of people, and build detailed profiles of individuals based on their travel habits. The infrastructure being built for the EES could easily be expanded or linked to other databases, creating an even more comprehensive system of surveillance. This shift is connected to the broader concept of a digital identity, a government-verified online version of your identity, often linked to your biometric data. It can be used to access services, prove your age, and in this case, cross borders. While convenient, it also creates a single point of failure and a powerful mechanism for control. If your digital ID is flagged, suspended, or hacked, you could be locked out of essential services or even barred from travel. The EES is a foundational step toward a future where your physical presence and your digital identity are inextricably linked and controlled by a central authority. We saw a preview of this kind of control during the global lockdowns of 2020, where freedom of movement was heavily restricted based on health status and digital passes. The EES represents a more permanent and sophisticated version of that control, embedded directly into the infrastructure of international travel. It establishes a framework where your ability to move freely is no longer a given right but a privilege granted by a system that is constantly watching. This is the direction the world is heading, and Europe is currently at the forefront of this transformation, setting a precedent that other nations are watching very closely. United States, Canada, Australia, and other Western nations are all observing this implementation closely. The end of the passport stamp is not just a sentimental loss, it creates a cascade of practical and legal problems for expats, digital nomads, and retirees. For years we relied on ink stamps as concrete physical proof of movement. They served as personal records to prove location on specific dates. Applying for a visa, establishing tax residency, making an asylum claim, stamped passports were the gold standard of proof. Now that proof is being taken out of our hands and put into a digital system that we cannot directly access or control. Consider proving continuous residency for a visa or permanent residency. Many countries require proof of physical presence for a set number of days per year. Without stamps, how do you show that? You become entirely dependent on data held within the EES. A glitch, a data entry error, a system outage. Disputing an automated record without physical evidence will be an uphill battle. The burden of proof shifts to you at the mercy of a faceless digital bureaucracy. Tax residency is another major concern. Tax obligations often depend on days spent in a country. Governments will now have precise, automated records to enforce those laws. This removes ambiguity and could cause unexpected tax liabilities for expats and long-term travelers. The EES gives tax authorities a powerful tool to monitor your movements with pinpoint accuracy. The system's primary function is to track overstays. A non-EU national who overstays 90 days by even a day or two faces automatic severe consequences. In the past, a friendly border guard might have warned you. Now the system will automatically flag you. Fines, future entry bans, a permanent negative mark on your digital record. Governments gain absolute control over border records while individuals lose their physical proof and lose room for human consideration or appeal in minor situations. The era of carrying your travel history in your own hands is ending. What was once a simple matter of showing your stamped passport has become a complex digital dependency where errors can have life-changing consequences and corrections require navigating vast impersonal bureaucratic systems. At the heart of the entry-exit system lies a fundamental trade-off: perceived security in exchange for personal privacy. By handing over our biometric data, the very essence of our unique physical identity, we are entrusting it to a massive cross-border governmental database. This creates unprecedented risks. In an age of sophisticated geopolitical hacking and state-sponsored cyber warfare, a centralized database containing the fingerprints and facial scans of millions of non-EU citizens is an extremely attractive target. A single successful breach could expose the sensitive personal data of travelers, expats, and their families to malicious actors worldwide. Even without a malicious hack, the potential for system glitches, errors, and false positives is a significant concern. What happens when the system mistakenly identifies you as an overstayer or flags your biometrics as a match for someone on a watch list? Being blocked from crossing a border due to a computer error could derail life-changing plans, starting a new job, attending a family emergency, simply returning to your home abroad. The process of correcting such an error in a vast multinational bureaucratic system would likely be slow, frustrating, and opaque, leaving you stranded and powerless. Your freedom of movement could be revoked by a simple algorithmic mistake. Beyond technical failures, we must consider the immense power of surveillance this system grants to governments. It creates a permanent record of your movements that can be analyzed to build a detailed picture of your life, where you go, how often you travel, who you might be traveling with. This information could be used for purposes far beyond border control, such as monitoring political dissidents, activists, or journalists. You don't know who is looking at your facial scan or your fingerprint data, or for what purpose. The mere existence of such a powerful surveillance tool is a chilling prospect for anyone who values personal privacy and freedom from government overreach. This is not just about freedom of movement, it's about a digital lockdown where your identity is no longer truly your own. It becomes a data point in a larger system of surveillance and control. Your passport, once a document that empowered your travel, now becomes a key that unlocks your data for government scrutiny. This represents a fundamental erosion of the privacy we once took for granted. The right to travel anonymously, to explore without being tracked and cataloged, is disappearing. We are moving toward a future where every border crossing is an act of submitting to total surveillance. Faced with this new reality, we cannot afford to be passive. We must be proactive, informed, and strategic. The first and most crucial step is to be meticulously organized. Since you will no longer have passport stamps as a personal record, you must create your own. Keep a detailed travel diary, digital or physical, both work. Record every entry and exit date for the Schengen area. Keep all of your travel documents as supplementary evidence. Boarding passes, train tickets, hotel receipts. These records could be invaluable if you need to dispute a discrepancy in the EES database. Second, understand the 90/180-day rule inside and out. The EES will enforce this rule with unforgiving precision. Non-EU visitors can stay a maximum of 90 days within any 180-day rolling period. Use an online Schengen calculator to plan and track your days. Do not estimate or guess. An accidental overstay, even by 1 day, can be recorded and lead to an entry ban. For longer stays, explore long-stay visa options well in advance. Do not assume you can figure it out after arrival. Expats, retirees, pay attention. Already living in Europe? Planning to move? If you rely on visa runs or back-to-back tourist stays, that strategy is obsolete and risky. Secure a proper long-term residence permit. Start immediately. The process can be lengthy and bureaucratic. Consult with an immigration lawyer expert in your chosen country's laws. Ensure all paperwork is in perfect order. Bank statements, proof of accommodation. Your legal status in Europe is now more important than ever. Finally, be prepared for the new border process. Allow extra time at airports and land crossings. Expect delays and technical issues during rollout. you will be required to provide fingerprints and have your photo taken. While this may feel intrusive, refusal is not an option. Stay calm, comply with the procedures. Preparation is your best defense. Knowledge and meticulous record-keeping are your new tools for navigating this transformed landscape of European travel. For many, the level of surveillance and control embodied by the EES is a deal-breaker. The idea of submitting your biometric data to a massive, permanent database is simply unacceptable. If you are among those who prioritize privacy, anonymity, and freedom from overarching government control, it may be time to rethink your travel and relocation plans. While Europe offers incredible history, culture, and beauty, it is now clearly on a path of hyper-control and surveillance. Fortunately, the world is a large place, and there are other regions that currently offer a greater degree of personal freedom. Many are now looking toward the vast and diverse continent of Africa. Countries across Africa are actively welcoming expats, entrepreneurs, and those of the diaspora. Ghana, Senegal, Rwanda, Botswana, known for their relative stability, growing economies, and a more relaxed approach to border control. While no place is perfect, the culture of surveillance is far less embedded than it is in the West. These countries offer a chance to build a life where you are not just a data point in a system, and where community and human connection are still paramount. This is a powerful alternative for those seeking a genuine escape from the digital dragnet. Asia also presents compelling options. Countries like Thailand, Malaysia, and the Philippines, known for low cost of living, vibrant cultures, and beautiful landscapes, while they have their own security systems, they are not yet part of a massive supranational biometric database like the EES. These nations often provide more straightforward long-term visa options for retirees and investors, allowing for a stable life abroad without the same level of integrated digital oversight. For the privacy-conscious traveler, these regions represent a frontier that has not yet been fully mapped by the architects of global surveillance. Ultimately, the choice is a deeply personal one. For some, the convenience and opportunities in Europe will outweigh the privacy concerns. But for a growing number of people, this is a line in the sand. If you fall into the latter category, your strategy should be one of diversification. Explore residency options in multiple regions. Consider obtaining a second passport if possible. Make no mistake, the launch of the entry-exit system in Europe is not the end of this story. It is the beginning, a blueprint for a new global standard of border control. The window to move, relocate, and establish yourself with relative freedom is closing. Once this system flips on, it will only expand. This passport lockdown may be starting in Europe, but with knowledge, strategy, and courage, you can navigate this changing world on your own terms. Shalom, and keep exploring.